Now it's live. Hi. Struggle has been real. Hi, welcome to Ghost Pepper Lollipop, where the takes are spicy, the host is sweet, and we engage that multiple things can be true at the same time. I do have a video for us to kind of showcase what we're gonna be talking about. And so I'm gonna put this video on. This is performing traditional masculinity is exhausting. And I mean, man's gonna tell us why. Let's find out what he says.
I'm so happy I'm not in any spaces where I have to perform traditional masculinity anymore because that shit is so exhausting, bruh. Like you lose yourself so much. Like you when you're forced into traditional masculinity, you become a hollow shell of what you could be or what you want to
Sad.
be. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
sad.
Because it's like you have to constantly prove yourself over and over and over again at all times of the day, and that just creates anxiety and
Real.
insecurity.
That's
And there's nothing
exhausting,
wrong with
no?
traditional masculinity. Like I think that if you want to practice that, that's fine. But the problem is it's forced onto everybody. And the worst part about traditional masculinity is you can never fully attain it because there's always going to be somebody that's better than you at some sort of aspect of masculinity.
Thank you,
And that's why
sir.
it creates insecurity within people. That's why you see so many men with fragile ass egos. And the standards of being a man are so fickle and so ever changing, bro. Because it's like you can get questioned on the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you dress, and the colors that you wear. And all within all these things, the masculinity can either go up or down depending on the decade or the generation. So, why would you follow something to the T if it's just gonna change? And you're gonna have to readjust to it. You might as well just live your own life and do things that you like feel comfortable with doing. And we're seeing a lot of men out there questioning masculinity and patriarchy, and they just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Because they still got that patriarchy chip in their brain, and they're asking like the good starting questions of why should I have to be a provider? Why should I have to execute masculinity in this way? But
They should ask what a provider
that's as
is
far as they
too.
go. You know what I'm saying? They don't question patriarchy and misogyny and try to break down and dismantle these things within themselves and within their community. It just stops at why do I have to do this? I don't want to do this. And they just want to leave it at that. But you can't live the life that you want to live if you're not able to break down patriarchy, to break down misogyny. I'm so happy I'm
Say it louder for those in the back. Dang, that was well said. I'm gonna have to keep that one. That one's good. I'm definitely gonna be keeping that one. That one's good. Damn, that was pretty fire. And the discussion is the performance of masculinity and why it's not great for the mental health of men or women or anyone in between. How being forced to perform masculinity is so damaging for society in general, but especially for the men that are trying to perform and can never reach the goal because other men are continuously moving the goalposts. It's not as if there's a set goalpost that you can reach and hit, and then a man is a man, and this is like, you've reached the goal, yay you. It doesn't exist. And so that's what we're here to discuss today. We're going to discuss the performance of masculinity and how it's damaging to men, and most especially because that goalpost is continuously changing. It's always shifting. You'll reach one goal and you'll think you're there and you think that you've got that man card. It's yours now. And then some man comes along and goes, "Nope, not your man card. I'm taking it. It's mine now." And that's just the reality. That is the very damaging, unfortunate reality of performative masculinity. And the fact that masculinity is a performance largely, that it's a problem. I think that if we weren't trying to perform masculinity with this tough guy attitude and demeanor, that men could actually be happy, and then the naturally masculine traits that they wanted to pursue would no longer be toxic. They wouldn't lead to toxic behaviors because that insecurity that their man card is going to be taken away at any moment wouldn't be there, which I believe is a great deal of the issue, is that men are constantly told that somebody's going to come along and take that man card away. And so long as you're worried if your man card is going to be taken away, how are you going to feel like a man? But hey, let's see what these guys have to say about performative masculinity in the age of media.
Performative masculinity in the age of media.
Oh, that was that
Understanding how
unexpected.
media
I didn't
shapes
listen to
modern
this yet. I
masculinity.
brought this to discussion.
Hello, everyone.
I
Welcome back to our channel, where we
feel
explore
like this is
gender
very AI
studies,
voice, but let's go.
equality, and social
It might
change.
not be.
Today, we're talking about a powerful and eye opening topic: performative masculinity in the age of media. What is performative masculinity? Masculinity as a performance.
I think that's an excellent point, like, and an excellent addition. Like, examples of performing masculinity also harm AMAB people as well because it's forced on people. The social conditioning is forced on people that don't ever like want to seek that man card. Man card doesn't fit them. It feels uncomfortable. It's icky to them, and they don't want anything to do with it. And yet, men are always saying, "Well, but you are," and so it has this sort of sticky back and forth where some people it's forced upon and others are always trying to reach a goal of it, and it's very hypocritical. um I wish you hadn't had that social conditioning forced on you. I wish none of us had that conditioning forced on us, but most especially the people that it actually it causes physical and emotional harm to. That sucks. Let's see what this is. Performative masculinity, behaviors to prove manhood influenced by culture and society, which is the point. I think the point is, like um race, gender is largely a legal distinction or a social distinction. In the case of gender, it really is a social distinction, and it's also a social invention, because like you don't animals don't go around like gendering themselves and others. They just hang out with who they enjoy hanging out with, who fulfills them in some way. Like we had an intersex duck that did both uh female and male duck things. This duck had a corkscrew and did corkscrew things, and it laid eggs. But it didn't like it wasn't it wasn't abused by the other ducks. It was just they were just part of the duck life. They were part of the duck family and the duck crew, and they were okay with that. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, Brandon, that that would be entirely up to you if you are a man, because I don't think you have to prove it. But I suppose that some do, and I'm so sorry that they suck at life and make you do that. I have somebody in here. Oh my gravy. I've got
Hello.
you. I finally
Hello.
got you. It was my bad. I had my mic set as both audio and mic, so that was my bad. Thank you so much for being patient.
No problem. Thank you so much for taking live calls tonight.
I am excited and nervous.
Am I the first caller?
You are.
Yes, I wanted to be. I wanted to leave you a voicemail, but then the weekend got away from me. So I said, you know what? Let's just call live.
I appreciate it so much. This is awesome. Um, and I haven't set it up yet where I put name, age, and pronouns, but would you give your name, age, and pronouns, please?
I am Ben. I am 45 and I go by he, him.
Awesome. Thank you for participating in the full thing. So, how do you feel about performative masculinity, and is there a way that it like affects and harms you in your daily life?
You know what I'm so grateful for is that I have kind of been outside of that entire construct. Not that I haven't seen it, not that I haven't had the opportunity to participate in it, Or actually, let me rephrase it. I don't know. I've been I've been injured. Hang on, let me close my son was coming in the room. Um, I have lived with injury most of my life, and most of them happened in my developmental ages. So I'm a pretty small guy, and I never had occasion to try to prove that I was the biggest guy in the room because I literally wasn't. But that never changed the ego factor. So one of the biggest parts of my development that I had to overcome was ego and self entitlement that comes with toxic masculinity. Still feeling entitled to women and women's bodies. That was definitely present, but the performative part of like trying to be the biggest guy in the room and have the biggest impact, I never really had to deal with that. And I'm kind of grateful for it, actually, very grateful for it as I saw it all around me. I was like, it felt good to not even have to be in that conversation.
So you never had to actually compete in that regard. I, it's
I've had to
interesting to
compete in.
hear you say it was kind of freeing in a way, because a lot of I known a lot of smaller statured men that did put on the like big barking dog act to try to be seen as more vicious. My cousin was actually one of them. So that's interesting. That's a good thank you for that
I, I
perspective.
never really, I don't get me wrong that again, the ego was always strong and I've had to work the most on that over the last 4 years. I have been in competition and competing to get a particular spot, performative spot, but that was more about skill and talent versus just a manhood thing. But the truth of it is though, is I've seen how not just destructive that it's been around me, but how it just kind of distorts the very thing that you want. There's a lot of guys I think they get caught up in that. And even though there is a short man syndrome, the small man syndrome, and I, had a little touch of that. I was always happy with an alternate route. I was always happy in, the music world. I was always happy in the creative world and the and those type of aspects. So it was never really a testosterone battle for me. I always felt a level of confidence and not, and you know what it is? I think the best way to describe it is I've never been bullied in my life.
Oh, wow.
And ever. And it's the craziest thing now that I look in retrospect. I'm like, most people don't have that experience. But I think one of the reasons I had that privilege was because I just didn't care to be in their spaces. And I just kind of went my own route and walked to my own beat. And there was always community wherever I went. So I've really been blessed in that way.
That's an amazing perspective. And I think that is a sort of privilege. Not one that I would
Yes.
have like anticipated calling that previously, but I think that is a sort of privilege. That's really interesting. And then the ego part. Do you
Mhm.
think, because I think that that's a big part of like performative masculinity, it is the ego. And I think that women, AFAB people, women, and people who associate either non-binary or more femme are forced to experience a sort of ego death. And actually, most women and girls experience ego death about the time our bodies really say, okay, you're a woman now, or something like that. That for
Mhm.
AFAB people, well, and I think even for trans people, as soon as your body like does that shift, like you have to go through this ego death. And I don't think that um, people that associate as men are seeking manhood and stuff, I don't think that they either experience that ego death really or even seek out ego death.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? How do you feel about like ego death and the evolution of being a person after that?
And this is the interesting thing is we that's our last barrier of self-defense, and we can let go of a whole lot of things. And I'm using myself as obviously, the best experience to speak from is my own. After all the things that I survived and all of the wonderful privileges that I have had to never have been abused and never have been bullied still was a healthy amount of ego and arrogance and cockiness that was tempered. Yeah, sure, it was tempered because I had good sense not to, I could talk myself into a fight and talk myself out of a fight just as fast, and I was quick. That's what saved me in a lot of situations. So my ego never got bruised until it got time for it to get killed. Like some people experience a slow ego death. I lived with ego till I probably my 30s. For the first time, it got chipped, and then when I turned 40, that's when it got like honestly just straight out assassinated, and I had no choice but to accept failure, accept surrender, and have to give in. And it was brutal to have to experience it at that age with a family with kids. I don't know which one is better. I do still count it a privilege to have, escaped this life without being abused by others. I've lived with injury my entire life, so that's different. But even that, I didn't realize I had such a big ego until it got assassinated on me, and I'm trying my best to, make sure it never sneaks back up. And I think that's just a testament to men. The last thing that has to die, no matter what we overcome, I think we don't realize our ego until it's too late.
Are you happier after the ego death and like
Oh
coming
my
back?
goodness.
And do you feel like you can be more of a full person? Because I think that that's a lot of the thing that men don't experience and that they're afraid to experience because
Yeah.
other men are telling them this is so horrible, but it, because I know that after ego death for me, like, and I had to experience ego death a few times, but
Mm,
like the one that really struck where like, a person asked me why I hated myself so much. And like, I
mm.
couldn't answer that in any kind of valid, reasonable way. And I don't think I realized, in fact, I know I didn't realize that I hated myself until like I really started assessing it. And that was a different form of having to rebuild after that. Now I feel like I don't have to perform for others in any
Yes.
way. And that feels like kind of like a superpower. And I'm just wondering if that, like, if you had a similar experience where being able to let go of the ego and start like an introspection loop instead and just work towards being the best you, if you feel freer, if you can tell
Oh my
men
goodness.
like if what that's like.
I don't even know. So, I thought I was a pretty good guy. I thought I absolutely loved my kids, and I thought I was a good father. But since I have had severe case of ego death, in a really humiliating fashion, losing everything and being unhoused and all those things really kind of shake you up. But I don't even know who that guy was anymore. And I'm so grateful to, he was a cool guy, but he just was not the dad that he thought he was. He wasn't the husband that he thought he was. He wasn't the human that he thought he was. And am I so much better for this process? I wouldn't change this process for the world. All the humiliation, all the loss, all the months, 15 months of being unhoused, all the financial losses and just I would literally do it all over again. The biggest reason I would do it all over again is not just because of like just a happier family. Oh my God, we're so much happier. But also because ego jams your brain. It jams up your ability to see clearly, to hear clearly. Like if there was something out there or anything in your intuition, in your heart that you were trying to hear, or if there was let's just say, for example, some type of divine entity trying to communicate with you, you can't hear anything from anybody, not even your own instinct correctly with ego jamming up all the signal. So I sit much quieter. I can hear much better. And then I just stop and realize, well, what the hell was I doing the first 40 years of my life?
Well, and I can say from knowing you for a while now that your growth is immense and like the I think you've learned the difference that I had a hard time learning the difference between reaction and response, and I think that you've grown
Yes.
way more responsive. which is
Oh,
like a superpower. Congratulations, because that one, that I didn't realize how powerful, like being able to accept like things that suck, just accept it that it sucks, and
yeah,
control what
yeah.
I can control and allow things to move forward. And thank you for
It's
sharing that.
Nick, that is such a powerful thing. And I'll just say like two more things and I'll clear your airwaves for someone else. Someone else called. Let's talk. I want to hear it. Um, but just what you just said is such an important and powerful thing because I think people don't realize that the shift and the change and the benefit of the change as well as the cost. But if you do a cost benefit analysis, like I think people would realize they have no idea what they're missing because of pride, because of ego, and how it destroys you from the inside. And this is the only other thing that I really want to say. Thank you so much for doing this. And I wish and hope and just sending out positive vibes in the universe that you get millions of followers and viewers and people who listen. Because I think the biggest threat, not I think, I know the biggest threat to humanity is the patriarchy and male ego. And I say that as a guy who had a healthy dose of male ego, and I thought I was woke, but turns out I had a really healthy dose of patriarchy in me too, and that I have to working out the patriarchy in me is a constant work. I have to catch it on a day-to-day basis when, thinking about something or processing something. So that's a constant work. That ego death, it is a constant work. But when you get freed from that thing, it's almost like I never want to go back. So thank you for this, and I wish you all the best on this project.
Thank you. I do believe in it. And I think that if we have these conversations honestly and like talk about the good aspects and the bad aspects in a real way, that we can overcome it a lot. And like I have internalized misogyny too. Like there's shit I have to constantly unpack too. I think
Yeah.
we all have that, and just being able to be honest and accountable to that is a superpower. And I'm glad that you have achieved that, because that's stinking awesome. And it's just going to be better for you and your family. It's going to keep making things better for you and your family, and I love that for you.
Thank you so much. And I love that for you and love what you're doing. And
Thank
any way
you.
I can support, you know I'm here.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And hey, shout yourself out, because I haven't told them who you actually are in your awesomeness yet. So give yourself a shout out
Oh
here.
well, I'm Benjamin Dixon from the Benjamin Dixon Show, and these days, these years, I go by Pastor Ben, and I just love Nika your work, and I love that you and we are down like four flat tires, even though we're on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of religion and faith, but we're on the same exact page in terms of ego death, in terms of treatment of people, and in terms of the good of humanity and what can come if we get rid of the evils of most religions. And so, even though we might have different branding, we are of the same spirit.
That is facts. That is big facts. I love you, Ben. Thank you so much
Love
for
you
coming
more.
on
Take
here.
care.
And remember, spread the word. Ice melts democracy.
Ah, ice melts democracy. We'll spread the word. Take care, nigga.
I love you. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Later. Yes, that was Pastor Dixon, Pastor Ben. I have worked with Ben being his mod for many years. He is amazing. If you are not like hanging out following Ben Dixon, you should be. You really, really should be. Clickbaity political thirst trap on Tuesdays. Amazing time. Go enjoy Marcus, Ben, and Mondale. They are amazing people. So let's go with this video for another minute until somebody else decides they want to call in and chat, if they do.
Manhood, influenced by culture and society. Performative masculinity is the idea that men act in certain ways to prove they are real men. These behaviors aren't always natural. They are shaped by society, traditions, and cultural norms. Past versus present. Past. Local communities shape.
Well, and I feel like the thing that isn't often discussed, especially here in America, is how the nuclear family was created to appease the male ego, and how I think that Brendan is right. Like the ego, I think the ego can kill us. And it really doesn't matter who you are. So that's a good comment. But I think a lot of the times we don't discuss like the past with honesty. Like my grandmother does not have good things to say about the nuclear family or patriarchy or any of it. I know that like men think that the grandmothers were just great with it, everything was fine. No. They no. Most of them no. They didn't like grandpa. They really didn't. If they thought if they had figured out that they could have survived without grandpa, they probably would have poisoned him. Let's be real. Aw, thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate you. So let's look at what this video says about past versus present.
Shaped masculinity. Present, global stage through social media. In the past, masculinity was defined within small communities, family, work, or friends. But today, platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube have turned masculinity into a worldwide performance. Traits of performative masculinity.
I think I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. I mean, unless they're talking pre-television and commercials, because media has existed for my entire life, and I'm 48. So like the media, just because it's more interactive now, I mean, maybe that would have an effect. Well, in fact, we know it has an effect on like the incel community. Because they're always competing with one another, sadly, to be to perform masculinity in some distinct manner, which I think it's probably going to show to be, when it's researched later in the future, it's going to show to be a some sort of mental illness. I just have a feeling. Um, but I think it really does boil down to entitlement and ego. But it's such a societal thing. I've been calling it for a few years now. I've been calling it social sociopathy, where um, people are socialized within a group or community to be sociopathic in behavior and regard, turn off their empathy for certain other aspects of the community at large. So we'll go with the current Yahtzee white supremacists. Their sociopathy is against anybody that's not white, even though white is another shifting goalpost. By the way, race is a legal distinction. Okay? Ethnicity and race are not the same thing. Race is a legal distinction. Why do we need that? Anyway, let's go there later. So the white supremacists have a social sociopathy against anybody they consider not white. And like masculinity and manhood and the patriarchy, that goal is constantly shifting down the road, so that people that were once white or could potentially be white, or they have pale enough skin, are constantly have to run to catch that goalpost if they aren't held to the same standard as these white nationalists, people like Schittler and his ilk of horrible awfuls. So I don't know if like I don't know if it's a word that'll catch on, but it's kind of the way that I associate it in my mind, because it's like these social groups tell you who you're allowed to empathize with, who you're allowed to have feelings who you're allowed to see as a person. And I think that is what social sociopathy is, the ability or the action of turning off empathy for certain people that are outside of that social group. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, pride and ego. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it kind of puts me back to that old Jane Austen book, Pride and Prejudice, and like um how Darcy at first describes pride as being something that can have value and merit, and then once he sticks his foot in it and realizes he messed up so bad that he might not be able to correct it, he realizes how that damaged even him. I think pride, like I think pride is so weaponized, and I don't mean like gay pride, because that's just people being visibilized or being seen as people. We want to be seen as people too. Just because we aren't heteronormative does not mean that we aren't people. So I think pride is often a weaponized term, because like there are certain aspects that pride is so weaponized, like with white supremacy. It's such a weaponized mentality that it harms anybody that doesn't fit under their umbrella. So yeah, I think I agree. Pride and ego are probably our worst traits as far as the way they're weaponized. I've been saying it since about 2020. you know, I don't disagree. I think that Brandon, I think that's a good point, that the internet has probably created a lot of social sociopaths, but I don't know that it is necessarily just that because of the internet. I think it's more because we're able to engage easier. I think that even within social groups before this, that you had that, but I think that with the internet now, that we can reach across the world with our voices, I think it's way worse. And I think it has created a lot. I mean, the internet is responsible for giving access and platforming some of the worst ideas and ideals imaginable. Uh, and it's kind of frightening, because we're facing and watching some of the most awful things happen every day. And because it's every day, we're growing more and more and more desensitized to it. And so I think that's an excellent point, Brandon, that the internet creates a lot of it, just by ability to access so far. We can reach so far now.
Physical strength, emotional control, dominance, and competitiveness.
And that's the part that irritates me so much. And like the domination and competitiveness. Like, why why are men out here walking around like being dominant over people, and like looming over them is in any way being respected? Why are you walking out here in the world, acting like freaking mountain lions with a thorn in your paw, and thinking we respect you? No, we don't want to get eaten. We do not want to get eaten. Go over in the corner and lick the thorn out of your paw. Nobody wants to deal with you, and nobody fucking respects you when you're acting dominant and trying to control. I had this person, like, B, are you saying, this young man, oh my goodness, you poor sweet summer child, are you saying that Genghis Khan conquering wasn't it's something about military uh superior military strategy? No, it was a man with a teeny tiny penis, mad that his penis was tiny, and so he went and attacked a whole bunch of people. He couldn't get over the fact that his penis was tiny. Just saying. No, I don't look up to dominance or physical strength, and I don't know why people are out here walking around like that's anything that we even need in society. I'm sorry, yes, sometimes I do need you to come open the jar. That's about as much use as you're going to is I need. They turn a wrench. There's the physical strength that we actually need. We've evolved as a species past the need for physical violence with one another. And the only reason that we still have it is the patriarchy and the patriarchy's need to use violence to control people. And men are not the patriarchy, not by and large. Told you are. Told that you're part of this little group and that you're the boss, and you are not. There are 5 or 6 men with a whole bunch of money that are the boss that like to shine y'all up and use y'all to carry out their whims. Good point, Brandon. Excellent point.
Common traits include showing physical power, never displaying fear, and always being in control. This often means hiding.
The never displaying fear and never like admitting to fear thing, like, and still thinking they're somehow brave is one of the funniest things in life, y'all. I If it wasn't so sad, I would laugh harder. But being brave requires you to be afraid. Let me repeat that. Being brave requires you to be afraid. Being brave is doing something even though you're afraid. That's what being brave is. Doing the thing even though you're afraid. That's what bravery is. Bravery isn't going out there and tapping your chest like King Kong. Being brave isn't being strong enough to turn a wrench or bop somebody in the head with a club. Being brave is going out there afraid of something and doing the thing anyway. Good question, Tony. That really is the $1,000,000 question. Truly is.
Emotions and avoiding vulnerability. The social media effect. Likes and
Oh,
followers equal validation. Pressure
just FYI, our meeting will be ending in 10 minutes. This is all Zoom is going to give me, but I will do the work to make it so that we will have more time next Monday. But I appreciate y'all for being here and hanging out. Uh, this I was nervous, and I have been nervous, but this is thank you. Y'all are the best.
to look perfect. Unrealistic male ideals.
Mm,
Social
so many
media rewards
unrealistic.
certain types of masculine images, gym bodies, expensive lifestyles, and aggressive confidence. Many men feel they must constantly perform to gain approval. Hidden consequences. Text on slide. Harm to mental health, relationship struggles, loss of authentic self.
No, that's you're exactly right, Tony. Like being brave is hoping that driving down the road doesn't get you hurt, and like today being in certain ways, looking certain ways, that is very real. Um, and just being part of certain communities, it's incredibly scary. And yeah, going out in the world when you're terrified, that is bravery. And being part of any of the communities that are outside of the cis het white man circle right now is terrifying. Solidarity and love to you. Everybody be safe out there. It is scary. So be good to each other and yourselves. So, like, I think that these aren't really hidden consequences so much as consequences that are constantly swept under this rug that nobody can walk across because they fall on their faces, tripping over all the fucking bubbles if they tried. Um, I really don't think they're hidden consequences. I think they're the consequences we refuse to name. I think they're the consequences we refuse to discuss. I think that they are the consequences we refuse to be honest about. These are the behaviors that come of suppressing all of those feelings that you don't want to feel. These are the loss of friends and partners and even family that won't deal with your bullshit anymore or coddle you through being an asshole and want you to be a better person and just refuse to deal with your shit anymore. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I see you. um, and laws of authentic self, which I don't think that that there are authentic, that you know who your authentic self is when you're embracing all of these ideas and trying to reach that next goalpost, or trying to be the toughest or look the toughest, or waving your weapon around like you're hot shit, or acting like I'm gonna get in a fight. I want him to do something so I can fight him. I'm gonna fight him. Like, you just look like a jackass. You just look like a jackass, and I want to be away from you as fast as possible, because that jackassery is going to get you, me, or somebody fucking else hurt, and nobody needs to be dealing with that in their lives, least of all you. That causes relationship problems, that causes you to not be able to engage and interact in an honest way. And I don't think that you know your authentic self when you're engaging like that. I don't think you possibly can have an authentic self and engage in that behavior. Because if you're constantly trying to meet the goalpost of that next goalpost of manhood, then where's you? What was you the one at that goalpost before, the goalpost before that, or are you at the third goalpost down the road? Because it seems like you is an evolving entity when you're trying to reach that next goalpost. So do you know who your authentic self is when you're trying to meet the goalpost to be what some man says that you need to be? And I'll tell you, when I had all my internalized bullshit before my therapy and stuff, no, I did not know my authentic self. I had zero idea who I was. And that was terrifying when I figured out that I really didn't know, when I really had to introspect and start that loop and like look in the mirror and find out why I hated myself that I couldn't explain, and etc. That was terrifying. But I'll tell you, I had no authentic self. I didn't know who the crap I was. I had to develop a self. I was never told that I was trustworthy, and so I didn't trust me. And that is a lot of what men are told. You are not trustworthy. You are not a feeling person. You are not a person. You are not a whole person. You are not a person. I mean, and it's a different way that women are told that. That's what they're told. And so they're constantly trying to reach this goalpost of the next sociopathic behavior that some man tells them is what true manhood is.
When men feel they must hide vulnerability, it can lead to stress, anxiety, and strained relationships. Over time, it distances them from their true self. Masculinity as a business.
Mm.
Influencers sell ideal masculinity.
And this is the sick thing. And this is the sick thing. If you don't know what the product is, the product is you. Name the band in the chat.
Fitness, fashion, luxury lifestyle industries. Profit over authenticity. Media often turns masculinity into a product, something that can be sold through fitness plans, designer clothes, or expensive cars. Redefining masculinity. Include empathy and kindness. Celebrate diversity. Be authentic. Masculinity can be more than dominance.
Set the example you need to see. Set the example you need to see. Enjoy, in elation, experience your feelings, and show joy and be joyous in your humanity, because people want to find joy. They want that dopamine rush, otherwise we wouldn't have so many distractibles in life. You really need to um oh, oh, you sad little person. Anyway. Ooh. Anyway, so set the tough guys make me giggle all the time. Why are y'all so funny? Anyway, so men, Don't be like that one. That one's scared. See, this is what they do when they're afraid of a woman that has like confidence. This is what an insecure man does because they're afraid. They're afraid they're gonna lose some sort of privilege if this confident woman laughs at them or tells them that they don't know what they're talking about. You see, this is the kind of man we're talking about. See, he's performing. Hey, come on, keep dancing. You know, if you don't dance perfectly, they're gonna take your man card away. So come on, let's go. What else you got? What else you got? Oh, my dear gravy babies of mercy, you are such a sad, pathetic little being. Well, let's see. You are a unicorn, Tony. You are a unicorn. You're also now a moderator. So go forth and do as you will with this fool. And hey, GHST, thank you for proving my point for me today. I really wanted you to prove my point to me, sir. And I appreciate you when you prove my point for me. Oh, ma'am. Oh, you're ma'am. Oh, sweetheart. So you've got the internalized misogyny? Oh, you're out here pulling your pants down, shaking your ass, going, pick me, pick me. Is it working? The guys really like it. Do they like you? Is it working? Yeah, is it working? Thank you so much for helping to add to my show and bring the algorithm forth to me. Keep going. I want you to. Oh, sad, strange little internalized misogynist. You're so cute. You're so cute. I just want that. You'll put you in the corner. One day, you'll wake up and you'll realize and understand how much damage you've done to yourself. And I wish that for you. I wish that for you, that you will one day have that superpower. Because right now, you're just a little sad, pathetic thing. It's okay. You got this. You got this. You too can grow as a person. A little bit of therapy, a little bit of self love, maybe some hot baths. You're going to be fine. Go get yourself a bath kit. Have a breather. Settle down there, kitten. Settle down.
It can include compassion, creativity, and emotional strength. True masculinity doesn't need constant
It
performance.
really doesn't. But
Key
it's funny
question.
when it happens. Makes me
Is this
giggle.
real or just a performance? Next time you see a perfect masculine image online, ask yourself, is this genuine or just another performance for likes and followers? Final message. True strength equals knowing yourself and respecting others. True strength
That
comes
part.
from understanding yourself and treating others with respect.
That part.
Let's challenge stereotypes and create a healthier image of masculinity for future generations.
That's that part.
Outro.
Set the example you need to see. Men, you get to decide what masculinity looks like in the future. You get to decide how you're seen in the world. And if you don't want me sitting here laughing at you because you ran into a room, pulled down your pants, and shaken your ass for everybody, then you have to behave in a way that doesn't engender that reaction. If you don't want me to see you as a raging misogynist, do not behave like a raging misogynist. If you do not want me to view you as a violent predator, do not behave like a violent predator. If you do not want me to be calling you a cannibal because you're acting like a violent predator against your own species, do not act like a violent predator against your own species. You see how the solution to these problems are all you stop acting a fucking fool? I hope you see that. I mean, you got eyes. But you got the ability, I'm sure. You got the ability. You got this. I believe in you. You can do it. All right, I'm done shit assing with y'all. We have gotten through my first call-in show, and this was you can change it to whatever time you would like to change it to. I will give you that power. Y'all are amazing. I don't think that you necessarily have to ban them or hide them forever. You can just time them out. Maybe they'll grow. Or maybe they'll come back to be laughed at. You know, that's a thing that the choice that they could make. I mean, know that I am gonna laugh at you every time. So, you know, if you would like to add to my pure joy and elation, come back, pull your pants down and run, shake it around the room again. The rest of you, ah, I celebrate you in the silliest way imaginable. You are the stinking best. All right, YouTube, I'm going to leave you for the day. And I'm going to tell you that I very much appreciate you for being here and taking part in this. And I have a Ko-fi. It is the Ghost Pepper Lollipop on Ko-fi. I'm going to give you a link here. And I very much hope that you will engage in helping me do this really fun thing. It's called eating. I love eating. I don't know what it is about eating. I don't know why eating is so delightful, but eating is just, it's really fun. I like it. Like, there are flavors and things. I had a lasagna the other day, y'all. Oh my, Amy. It's not. So, you know, help me make more lasagna and things. And I also have merchings. I have merches. It's merch. There is merch. And I hope that you enjoy it. I will be adding a new merch. The new merch will be Ice Melts Democracy. Expect that in the coming couple of weeks. And I very much just appreciate y'all for being here and hanging out. One more time with the pom-poms. Y'all are the best. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, okay. Have a good day. Thank you, thank yous.